Start. So good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing okay, that you have a good sleep, though we are all very tired and stressed. Yeah, we still need to sleep well. So in general, for everyone, always the same recommendation, materials for the tasks, try to complete tasks, mainly because we need to discuss. But for all of you who have been working on tasks, you have revision, you have feedback from me for tasks 1 and 2. So please check again, check my feedback and upload again. There are different kinds of feedback, either some sections which are incomplete, you did the wrong summary, or something is missing. So please, everyone has a specific thing to improve. So task 2 is there for you to improve for the great majority and upload again. We have that possibility. Please take advantage. Well, this is our second day of workshop task. The workshop task, remember, is the summary. I will focus mainly on the summary from the different chapters. And I need to grade these summaries. This will be shown by the end, but you have 2 tasks to upload these summaries. Yes, elementary school students have a task on week 5. Please check the task on week 5. It says elementary school students. So there you will have a place where to upload your summaries. Then early childhood education students have a task on week 6. Week 6. So there it says early childhood education students will upload summaries here. So this is for summary uploading. Then we will share in a forum, we will share everything, presentations and summaries for the classmates to be able to read. Okay, so that from now on, from this week onwards. Okay. Please pay attention to these 2 recommendations. So we will check this again by the end. Okay, that is important because mainly because we have to pay attention to evaluations. And we're going to come back to this. But workshop 1 grades will be due soon on this system, on the SGC system, the SGC. So we really need to have the workshops, the summaries done. You have time to check something, improve something, but they have to be on Educando so I can grade them. Okay, so in general reminders. Okay, Lucas, you tell me when you're ready. We have the second round of presentations. Paying attention that we're still reading a lot, trying to focus on important information. And this is a great exercise for you to focus later on more information that you will find in different sources to organize a pre-project. So we really need to concentrate on reading and summarizing, applying a lot of strategies to be more accurate, to be more precise, to be more clear about the information we are looking for and finding. So tell me, Lucas, whenever you're ready. Check. Or if you need any help, if you need to send me your presentation, I can share, that's okay as well. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, now we can. Yes, perfect, Lucas. You're on. Start whenever you're ready, you can start.
Okay. Today I'm going to talk about research basics. What is a chapter from research method? And okay, what is it? First of all, we need to know that research is used to find answers to unknown things or something that we want to know in a systematic or a structured way. There are different methods and techniques to carry out your research. This will help you to collect and analyze the information obtained to make conclusions about what you did. It will give you validity to your research. So then you could be able to convince other people about your research or knowledge. What you can do with research? There are 8 kind of research which are categorized. This involves forming a typology of concepts, events, objects, etc. Explaining which ones belong together and how. Describe. This kind of investigation is based on the observation to collect data. It tries to examine some events or situations to determine what is the norm, namely what could happen under the same circumstance. Explain. It is specifically related to research complex issues. It goes beyond the results to make sense of the myriad other elements involved, such as human, cultural, social, and political. Evaluate. This involves making judgments. I don't know
Judgment.
about
Judgment. Judgment.
judgment, judgments about the quality of objects or events. To be useful, the method of evaluation must be relevant to the context and intention of the research. Compare. Here you can compare or examine 2 or more cases to highlight their similarities and differences. It will let you understand in a better way a phenomenon. Correlate. The relation between 2 phenomena are investigated to see if they are influence each other and how. It could be just a loose link or a direct link when one phenomena causes another. And predict. It can be used in areas where correlation are already known. Predictions about future behavior or events can be made based on the correlation. So if there was correlation between 2 things, then should exist in similar circumstances in the future. And the last one, control. After to understand an issue or situation, you may be able to find ways to control it. For that, you must know the relationship between cause and effect. In that sense, you have to be able to explain how something happens, and then you can work in how to control it. Uh, okay, and this part of the presentation was part of work, the work of the Kate. I don't know
Kate,
if
yes, part of her work. Yes, since she's not here, can you just tell us in general? So there are different
um
kinds of research design, as we said.
yes, about research designs. There
Design, we are
are
talking.
this
I think you already presented all of the designs, whether they are exploratory, descriptive, correlational.
yes.
So,
There are around 11 type of designs.
mhm.
Uh, Here I
I
can
have historical. When
historical.
we're talking about,
It,
yeah.
its purpose is a systematic and objective evaluation and synthesis of the evidence in order to establish facts and know much more about past events.
Mhm. Yeah, historical
Um,
research. Yeah.
descript, descript,
Descriptive.
descriptive,
Descriptive.
descriptive. This design is based on observation as a means of data collection. Try to examine different situations. This design is based on observation. I think it's the same. Try to examine. Yes.
Mhm.
And correlation, this design is used to examine a relation between two concepts. There are two broad, broad,
Mhm. There are two
classi- there are two broad,
broad,
classi-
broad,
broad
broad classifications.
classification of relational statements
Mhm.
and association between two concepts where there is some kind of influence of one on on the other, and a causal relationship where one causes changes to occur in the other. Comparative. This design is used to compare past and present or different parallel situations, particularly when the investigator has no control over the events.
The events. Mhm.
Experimental experimental research attempts to isolate and control every relevant condition which determines the events investigated and then observes the effects when the conditions are manipulated.
Mhm. Yes, experimental.
Simulation. Simulation involves devising a representation in a small and simplified form of
Mhm.
a system, which can be manipulated to gauge effects.
Watch effects, yes. Evaluation. Mhm.
Evaluation. This descriptive type of research is specifically designed to deal with complex social issues. A common purpose of evaluation research is to examine the working of projects from the point of view of levels of awareness, cost, and benefits.
Mhm.
Action,
Mhm.
principally designed to deal with a specific problem found in a particular situation.
Mhm.
There is no attempt made to separate the problem from its context in
Mhm.
order to study it in its isolation.
In isolation, yeah. Mhm.
Ethnological. Ethnological research focuses on people. In this approach, the researchers is interested in how the subjects of the research interpret their own behavior, rather, rather,
Rather, rather.
rather, rather than imposing a theory from outside. Feminist. This is more of a perspective than research design that involves theory and analysis that highlight the difference between men's and women
Women's
lives.
lives. Mhm. Culture.
Cultural. Cultural research provides methodologies that allow a consistent analysis of cultural texts so that they can be compared, replicated, disproved, and generalized. And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. Yes, thank you. We have already seen this also last Thursday, all of the different designs that you can organize. And this chapter, therefore, will be very much useful when you decide on your pre-projects to be presented by the end of the semester. So you know already what to find here. Then, Lucas, as I was explaining, the written summary should be uploaded to week 6.
Okay.
And from there, I will upload your feedback with your with a rubric. Okay, the next girls are the Sofias. Sofía Aracibia.
Profesora,
Yeah. Yes, Sofía.
Alejandra quiere ingresar.
Alejandra. Oh, I didn't see her. Okay. Just checking. Waiting for her.
Sí, está esperando.
But I cannot see her. Is she real? Where is she? Okay. Let me check. Okay, wait a minute. I need to change. Sofia Seoane, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I will need to, but I think, can you share? Tell me if you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes, excellent, girls. You're on.
Okay. So good morning, teacher and classmates. Today with my partner, Sofia Sebane, we are going to talk about the chapter 2, the research theory. First, it starts explaining about that research is about acquiring knowledge and development of understanding. And then we pass to metaphysics and epistemology comparison. That metaphysics says that is relating with question about humans and time and space. And then we have idealism that says that it's about how we see the reality with our own experience and sense. For example, that art isn't only paint. And then we pass to materialism that says that only physical things and their interaction exist and that our minds are consciousness are wholly due to the activity operation of materials. For example, that art is only the paint. And then we pass to the comparison of epistemology, that is the validation of methods that we use for research. And we have the empirism, that is the knowledge gained by sensory experience. And the rationalism, that is knowledge gained by reasoning using deductive reasoning. And here we have a little comparison that inductive reasoning is gone by the hand of empiricistic approach that says that inductive reasoning is the observation or sensory experience for conclusion and also needs time with observation and specific conditions. And then we have the deduction reasoning with the hand of rationalist approach, which says that deductive reasoning begins with general premise and logical argument and finishes with specific conclusions. And then here we have the hypothetic deductive reasoning or or scientific method that combines inductive and deductive reasoning resulting in the identification or clarification of a problem, developing of a hypothesis inductively from observation, charting their implication by deduction, practical or theoretical testing of the hypothesis, and rejecting or refining in the light of the results.
And we have the view of epistemology. It is a combination of experience with deductive and inductive reasoning, but there are certain assumptions that underlie scientific methods that relate to materialist view of metaphysics and positivist view of epistemology. One of them are order, who describes that the universe is an ordered system that can be investigated and the underlying rules can be exposed. External reality, who says that we all share the same reality that does not depend on our existence. We can therefore all equally contribute to and share knowledge that reflects this reality. Reliability, who explains that we can rely on our sense and reasoning to produce facts that reliably interpret reality. Parsimony, who described that the simpler the explanation, the better. Theory shall be refined to the most compact formulation, and generality. It explains that the rules of reality discovered through research can be applied in a relevant situation regardless of time and place. Now we have positivism, relativism, postmodernism, and critical realism. First, positivism is the positive approach to scientific investigation. Is based on the acceptance as fact that the world around us is real and that we can find out about this reality. Relativism is based on the philosophical doctrines of idealism and humanism. It maintains that the view of the world that we see around us is creation of the mind. Postmodernism challenges key uses such as meaning, knowledge, and truth, which have opened new perspectives and ideas about the essence of research. And critical realism can be seen the reconciliatory approach, which recognizes, like the positivists, the existence of a natural order in social events and discourse, but claims that this order cannot be detected by merely observing a pattern of events. And for finish, we have our important figures of the history. We choose only the most important for us, and the pictures are in order and the same order that the words. So Plato represents and used deductive thinking, who started with theory to make sense of what we observe. Aristotle, for the opposite of Plato, he used the inductive thinking, who started with observation in order to build theory. René Descartes proved the starting point of modern philosophy by using a method of systematic thought. I think, therefore I am.
Yes. Okay.
The other are Immanuel Kant made the distinction between bodies or objects that can be directly measured and therefore have physical existence. Facts are not independent of the point of view. Karl Marx defined moral and social aspect of humanity in terms of material force, and for this is important in social aspect of humanity. Thomas Kahn says the scientific research cannot separate from human influence. And for finish, Jacques Derrida, he approach led to the mode called deconstruction. And that's all with presentation. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. So thank you, girls. So it's again a reminder that whenever we are talking about philosophy of research, this chapter 2 by Walliman, is the place where to go, so as to remember the philosophical schools. And I have been giving you feedback about that summary in your tasks too. So therefore, you have another support here in case you need to go back to revising the philosophical schools, which we mainly have, according to Walliman, these two big groups, the positivists, the positivist school, and the idealist, or the interpretivist, or the, I think there is another name, but the ones we already discussed last class as well. So in order for you to remember that you have another place where to go and check about the philosophical schools. So you have a lot of materials now to fill in to complete your tasks too. Okay, so you have these two great schools, yes, positivism and relativism. That is what Walliman refers to, but it's interpretivism in the other literature we read, and together with relativism or interpretivism, you have postmodernism and critical realism. So you really have a lot of materials now. Please do go and check Walliman chapter 2 and complete your work. This is important again whenever we are going to organize a project or a pre-project, to think, how do we see reality? Remember, philosophy helps us ask these questions. What is the world around us? What is reality? So that's very, very useful as well. Thank you, girls. All the materials will be available. So I will create a forum in which we are going to share all our materials, and we will be able to read everyone's work. Thank you. And the next ones is Carolina, Valentina, and Carolina. Is that right? Carolina Gonzalez, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so you can share, I think.
Yes.
Okay. The structure.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today with my partner Carolina Gonzalez and me, Valentina Rojas, we'll talk about the chapter 3, the structure of the research project.
The structure of research project. The research project are the practical techniques used to carry out an investigation. The first thing to do a research project is to define the research problem. When the problem is already identified, there will be a topic to investigate, to identify objectives, the way to research conclusions that help answer the question posed.
Also, there are 4 important questions that support the formal work of any research project. The first are, what are you going to do? This means the topic of your research. Another is why are you going to do it? This is the reason for this research. Is necessary or interesting? How are you going to do it? The research method you will use to carry out of the project. And when are you going to do it? This is the work program.
When discovering and finding information about the problem area may come across to topic of interest, to then formulate a hypothesis to define the justification of the research problem. Ways in which the investigation problem can be expressed to find the investigation method by question of questions. This is the simplest way to pose a problem. The question requires answers so it encourages research. Another is the hypothesis. We do them all the time. When something happens to us in our daily lives, we tend to suggest the reason of the situation. For example, Newton's theory of gravity was based on a hypothesis.
Yes.
The main objective of doing a research project is to identify a problem, look for information, propose some solution, and with that information combines that what was found is relevant to the problem. To build an argument, there are basic objectives of argumentation, such as defending the explanation through evidence that justify and support it. Another objective is to object with evidence that undermines it.
And finally, the conclusions should be based on the hypothesis. If the final comment or explanation is not sure, we can be using the phrase, "this is probably that." Developing an argument and obtain conclusion about the research project is cumulative process. It is not very likely that the answer to problem will be yes or no, since it's necessary to describe why an argument that justifies it.
It justifies. Yes.
This is all of our presentation, and you can find more information in our summary. Thanks.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, girls. This will be again revised when we think of the pre-project, the problem that we're going to deal with, and how to find information and how to organize it. And whether we have a hypothesis or maybe we have questions. So we're going to discuss those topics as well. And this chapter will be very useful. Thank you, girls. And we will have the summaries. Moreover, some part of the job already done. Great, girls. Now, chapter 4 was the other Carolina, Carolina Rios. And are you there?
Camila Zambrano.
Camila, yeah. Carolina and Camila. I was looking for your name. So you can share, I think.
Carolina, are you here?
Yes, yes, but I don't know whether she listens. You're on there.
Carolina is sure.
Okay. Yes, so you're on.
Good morning, teacher and students. With Camila Zambrano, we will take about research ethics. The ethics of research is a relevant point with a research process or work. It is one of the parts where the position or intentionality that the research has on the work has a great influence and is related to different aspects that address the central theme among them. The research individual values relate to honesty and openness and personal integrity. And the research treatment of other research participants in relation to informed consent, confidentiality, anonymity, and courtesy. The other point is organization and ethics committees. It has some function, set up good or practice, oversight research, and formulates ethics good and oversight the application of that. The honesty in your work. The honesty is essential in order to generate a level of truth and credibility in the research result, and must be maintained throughout the work. This applies to all research regardless of what is being researched. The other point is intellectual authorship and plagiarism. What you write is considered your homework. The worst thing a person can do is plagiarism, which is directly copying another person wording your report, thesis, etc. Acknowledgement and citation. For research to be credible, evidence must be presented showing the source and authors from how the information is ranked known as citation. The responsibility and accountability of the research honesty with college is regarded, as well as an accurate description of what you have done, how you have done it, the information you have obtained, the techniques you have used, the analysis you have carried out, and the results of experiments. Data and interpretation. Sharing the data is dishonest. If you see any reason for possibly bias in any aspect of the research, acknowledge and explain it. Silently rejecting or ignoring evidence that is contrary to one's belief, or being overly selective in the data used and in the perception of the results of the analysis constitutes a lack of integrity. Where do you stand? The theoretical perspective states that the assumption on which the research is based must be understood by the research, the readers, and in some cases, the objectives of the research, as well as making decisions about the theory that will form the basis of their research approach. Situation that the research issues. Social research and other forms of research that study people, the relation with each other and with the world must be sensitive to ethical behaviors. Research must be mindful to avoid harm when publishing project results. The research aims. The solution is to gain greater clarity and understanding of a phenomenon that has few or no ethical consequences. They must be exposed, and you will have to argue that your research objective conform to the ethical standards predicted by your university or organization. And use of language. Language to be as neutral as possible in using terminology relating to people, how they are, what they are, and what they do. Avoid being condescending or derogatory, and avoid bias, stereotyping, discrimination, prejudice, and intolerance.
Yes. On the other hand, we have presentation. This refers to the way of presenting oneself, which can influence the attitude and expectation of the people involved in the project. Student researchers should present themselves as such and give the correct impression that they are conducting the research as an academic exercise. Professional researchers have a professional person that gives them more authority and possibly power. And the other slide. In dealing with participants, be treated with due ethical consideration. Dishonest means of persuasion should be avoided. Participants will decide to participate based on the information they receive, which should be clear and easy to understand. Questionnaire should provide necessary written information such as an introduction, and participants should have the right to terminate their participant at any time. However, friend or family or people close to us maybe feel that they have an obligation to help us despite any reservation they might have, and that could be a restriction on their freedom to refuse. In the carrying out the research, we can find potential harm and gain. The principle of ethical research is to produce benefits for the participants in the project. They must be recognized, the risks and harms must be avoided. That is why methods should be chosen that don't harm the dignity of the subject. Recording data, at the moment of the recording data, researchers who have collected confidential, they cannot disturb the information in the transcript because it's unethical and can even be very dangerous. In the participant involvement, involve close communication between you, the researchers, and the participants. Trust should not be used to obtain information that the participant may later regret. And the other point is about sensitive material. There may be sensitive information that can harm the participant, but if this information is relevant in the research, a way should be sought in which it does not harm anyone and seeking anonymity. Honesty, deception, and cover methods. Honesty is a basic principle of ethic research, so any kind of use of deception or cover method must be discarded. Otherwise, it will be too questionable and even dangerous too. Storing and transmitting data. The Data Protection Act 1998 in the UK state a regulation for data collect might contain confidential information about person and organization confidential about person and or organization. That's why it's important to design a storage system that is security and accessibly only for the researcher person. If you need to transmit data, take steps to make the transmission method security and not open to unauthorized access. Checking data and draft. It's a good idea to pass the research report draft to college or supervisor for comment, but only on the condition that the content is totally confidential, especially when it's not ready for publication and dissemination at this stage. Another dissemination. At the time of dissemination and publication of the project, the researcher must check that all information published is identical to the original and avoids oversimplification, bias towards certain results.
To delete. Yeah.
Yes. And the other slide. Yes,
Yes,
and
so data should be discarded after it was analyzed and published. Okay.
yeah, oh no,
The
I
last
know. Sorry, the last point. Yes, and the last point is the disposing of records. Decide on a suitable time and method to delete the records at the end of the researcher projects. The basic policy is to ensure that all data is anonymous and not attributable. Data must be delayed in such a way that it is completely indecipherable. This can involve destroying all documents, formatting disks, and erasing tapes. All of these cannot be recoverable.
recoverable.
Mhm. Well, and in the conclusion, we think that is why when researching and creating projects, all the suggested steps must be followed to obtain a good final product. And it also serves to guide you and to keep a precise order in your work.
Yes, exactly.
This method.
Yes, and also keep ethical conduct, especially when working with human beings, with populations that
Yes.
are at risk, which can be different children, for example, people in
Yes.
jail, but also students, in the sense that working with students create a relationship of power and authority,
Yes.
part of the
Also
research. Yeah.
creates like soft skill because we share with many people, with children, adults, vulnerable people,
Yeah, exactly.
and older adults. So
yes,
this serve for our life, not just for investigation.
yes, we are not, as working with students, we are not putting the lives of students at risk, but it is a question of power. And of course, in working with the University of Talca, precisely, and students at the University of Talca, we have to revise several times the procedures because of ethical reasons. Just because of what a university sometimes understands through protocols, that is the way to conduct research with students. And so it is a critical issue. So let me tell you, it is a critical issue. Moreover, when participants are underage, like children in schools, or at a more critical disadvantage, like for example, people in jail, sick people, or people with special conditions. Okay, so it's a complex situation.
Yes,
Well done, girls. So this is a great chapter. I think very informative. You are not at the position of conducting research in such a public way, but it would be useful for you once you you decide to do research at another level, or probably in further studies. Yes, in further steps of studies, whenever you finish your career and you decide to keep on working, keep on studying. All right, and we will always be thinking, of course, of ethical issues. And next, the last ones, Marilyn and Jasmine. The last two classmates presenting.
Teacher, I
Yes.
share screen.
Yes, yes, please try to do it. Tell me if you can't. Okay.
See you the screen?
Yes, we can see.
Good morning, teacher and classmates. I am Marilyn Melo, and today with my partner Yasmin Alarcon, we will present our summary of Chapter 5 finding and reviewing literature from the book Research Methods, The Basics by Walliman. This chapter starts with a little introduction, which tells us that research is a process that, once complete, generates new knowledge that contributes to society. This is how the results of a research are shared with many other people, organizations, and other entities that will use this new information for new objectives. Therefore, it is of great importance and great care must be taken at each step of the research. This chapter discusses the steps of reviewing and analyzing the supporting literature, providing guidelines for performing this step properly and professionally. The topics covered in this chapter are 4. The point 1 is central objective, the importance of finding and reviewing literature in research. The point 2 is information media, where to look for information. The point 3 is process definitions, the literature analysis and review. And the final point is some support materials, useful for literature review.
Importance of finding reviewing literature in research. Before selecting a literature to support our research, we must know the set of that have to do with the topic to be investigated. This that can be about the most recent studies and what has already been discovered about the topic. This will help us not to waste time and tries to find out something that other people have already found out. In order to know the data and plan the research project correctly, you should look for information in reliable cities. Since doing this will save a lot of time and frustration caused by an incorrect research for information.
The information media. To avoid this stressful situation mentioned above, we should first know the existing information media of good quality and credibility, and have knowledge of their characteristics, in order to know which one to turn to depending on the subject we want to look for, allowing us to look for information quickly and correctly. These media include libraries, information services, and internet.
Libraries. Libraries are a perfect place because they give us access to a lot of information centers in a place, which save time, and also this information is deleted and varied. There are different types of library which are classified and fields. Two libraries, correct college or university libraries. In this, you can find a large amount of information on the subject of your own discipline. Especially Libraries are tools that encompass topic of universities departments, and two libraries is professional libraries, technical libraries, and local libraries, where you can find specialist collections of local interests. They have an electronic catalog that has computer lists of specialists and publication from the oldest to the most recent written by academic. They also have libraries and people who help research for information that is more difficult for any user to find on other home.
The information services. Here you will find research centers which publish in detail the latest research. These are museums and galleries, which can be national and local. In this type of venue, you can also access exhibitions of printed and electronic information. Even contact with the administrative staff who can help you get the other information as long as there is a common agreement.
Internet. The internet is the largest source of information in the world, called World Wide Web. In this site, share information many people, how many or may not be experts, which is why when looking for information, you should know that not all information is free and available for our research project. Therefore, it is necessary to investigate where the research comes from, the author, and the citations in the article before selecting it. It is important to note that if the website is in AC, they are addresses of schools or universities and therefore have intellectual credibility.
Yes, this is in England, okay? So they see UK, that ending means they are universities, academic institutions in the UK, in the United Kingdom. So that's one option of knowing whether the website is credible or not, or if there are websites from universities, as we have shared already in the class, in the course. For example, the University of Florida or State University of Florida. I shared with you those websites because they come from universities outside the UK, but they are reliable as well. Okay, yes, continue.
The revision of the literature. The literature review corresponds to the process that studies various aspects of a text to conclude whether it is recommended to use it or not. Some of the aspects that are reviewed are to analyze if the author's interest harms or guides the result of his research, because if so, it would not be very objective and it is not advisable to use it. On the other hand, also observe the date of the text and identify if the information is up to date. The most important thing is that the content and ideas of the source chosen answer the question the research is trying to solve. And understanding that is a process of dedication. There are a website called Bubble, which helps to perform a faster review.
Yes, you can find it.
Literature analysis. Literature analysis is a quality control exercise that helps you choose the best and most relevant piece of information to use in the review. The goal of the late analysis is not simple to find flaws in writing, still of our ideas about to present a critic analysis or examination of them to give you all personal and professional assessment of the content and quality of the content in question.
The bibliographic analysis. This type of analysis serves to support a research. In this way, it is dedicated to evaluate if the bibliography presents citations of the pertinent articles and publications. It must be evidence that the authors that support the description with the research source prove that they carried out a correct review of their own literature. There are four main directions in which a literature review should be focused. The number one is theory and philosophy of research. Two is history of developments. Three, latest research and development. And four, focus on research methods.
Books that can help you. The following books provide really useful details on counting literature reviews. The first book is the literature review. The second book is doing a literature search and literature review and internet research skill. The text assist the reader in organized information and written ones or review and accessible yet in-depth look at how to synthesize the research literature as well as research strategies and outlines the critical kits needed to deal with such diversity and disorganization and materials.
Okay, girls, thank you. Okay.
Conclusion. The main conclusions usually appear towards the end of the work. Also, there may be dispersed intermediate conclusions. This can be correct through comparison with other texts, for which some considerations should be taken into account. Levels of completeness, contradictions, strength of arguments, implication of theoretical positions, and accept values and types of conclusions. This was our presentations. Thanks for your attention.
Yes, thank you. That's very useful. This last chapter is really useful. You will be searching for literature on certain topic. We will see now how the course develops. But this last chapter will be of use. So keep in mind, chapter 5 by Nicholas Walliman will be really very useful. Plus, remember we have the the recording as well, the video done on the first day of the course with the explanations from the library and the librarians, because they have guided us on how to find reliable information in the university's library and catalogs. So that is very useful as well. So in that sense, with that explanation received from the library, we have overcome some problems that Waliman might have, which is a little bit outdated information that he might have, since his book was published in 2011, so 10 years ago. So there are probably other evolutions that we can find now in our library. Nevertheless, I am thinking of inviting people from the library again to help us use some other devices and applications that are useful, again, for looking for information and also for keeping citations correctly made. So this is the bubble that the girls were informing about. You see, can you all see this website, which was created to provide information, yes, for librarians, for libraries especially, on updated literature. Okay, but maybe that might not necessarily be so up to date, and therefore in the lesson plan we will see also when the time comes. There are links to valuable websites of very well-known academic journals, in which we can also perform our search and be sure that we're going to find literature of quality that has been revised, peer-reviewed, and accepted in the academic world. Okay, girls, and Lucas, guys. I didn't like the word like guys very much when I was in the US, but I think it is really very, very useful when you have a public that is different general orientation. So now, please take some minutes to rest, bring some tea, go to the bathroom, and when we come back, we will continue with a discussion in class that I need you to finish today, so that we can have that we can waive that evaluation, that task. Yes, and so instead of doing a task that is a written format, you will do it now, and we will come to conclusions in oral version. Previously to that, I need you to pay attention to the module's evaluations. Once again, the tasks and the workshop 1. So far, we have done, well, you have been presented with 3 tasks, of which 2 have already been given feedback. Yes, introduction to research methodology, that was given feedback. Some people still needed to revise and upload corrections. Task document, task 2, I gave feedback to the people who have uploaded their tasks and also given feedback. So please pay attention to that feedback and upload corrections. I still need to work with task 3. I also understand you have to work with task 3, but now the concentration will be on the workshop 1, which is this summary. It's a group work, therefore I will have half the tasks to correct, to give feedback to. So we'll only have 10 summaries to check. You have different weeks to upload the work, and grades are due very soon. So I really need you to check all your summaries and upload them so that I can start revising this weekend. So in this way, we will have one of the important evaluations finished and the SGC is only 15%. But remember, we have another workshop coming in May. It will be due in May, probably I think I have moved this due date. Let me check in the SSM. Therefore, we will have some more time, because then June is dedicated to your project. And then we will finally have a final quiz in July with the knowledge we have been working towards developing. So the tasks will also be due by the end of May. So I really need you to work. We will have one less task, but we will have 4 tasks in total. The work for today will be on the importance of research in educational topics, and it will be done orally today in class. Therefore, that will be one less written work, which is good, but we need to work here in class and have to come to conclusions. Okay. Okay. As I was explaining, we need to be responsible with the work we still have in our hands. That means you need to pay attention to the tasks you have not done yet, so as to be able to complete them for May. We are starting May, and we have a lot to pay attention to. So please try to continue with the tasks that are behind. Okay. All right. So now we need some time to think. And in Kumar, when we were reading chapter 1 in Kumar and working with it, we saw a general questions that Kumar asked, because he says research is a way of thinking, which is something that is true. Researchers always think in a special kind of way and are receptive to everything that happens around them and take advantage of every situation in their surroundings to think of possible research. Therefore, in different areas, and Kumar's book is dedicated to students, also beginners, in different areas, and he speaks about different areas of knowledge, professions in which we can ask ourselves, or in which professionals of those areas can think of questions they ask themselves about their situation, their surroundings, their profession. And now, in relationship to education, which are your ideas or previous knowledge on the importance of research in education? Why do you think it is important to conduct research in education? So it's just ideas, brainstorm ideas.
In our case, that we in the future will be a teachers, I think it's important because we can research about how be good teachers or better teachers. So we can find new theories or something like that.
Yes, and we can research about, about how to become better teachers, yes, or prove or find new theories, yes. Research can be done in order to prove that a certain theory works, or it can be also conducted so as to go inductively. So we have seen in the summaries, in forma inductiva. So we go from the different steps, proofs from reality in order to find some new theory, in order to develop a theory. Yes, both situations can occur in education. Yes, why else is research important?
I believe that the result of the research will help us for improve our work. for make a better work for the children's.
Yes, for improvement. Yes, exactly. For improvement of practices. Yes, and in this case, we're discussing the types of research that we talked about in our first classes, in the second class probably, in which we were talking about some kind of theoretical research, pure research, and applied research. Research that help us improve our practice. So, perfect, you're applying everything you have learned and we have been talking about. So results from research can help us improve our practice. Yes, exactly. So this view, okay, the view that research is useful in order to accomplish different objectives. Anything else? In general, you are talking about improvement, becoming better as practitioners. What else in this case can we improve, for example? If we're thinking of improving. Or do you think of anything else? Well, okay. Those are not bad ideas. Research and education is important. You will see there's plenty of literature now talking about literature. Plenty of literature written on different areas related to education. Also projects that we organize at university, at our College of Education are related to education, to different areas. Yes, and following different types of different designs that we have also seen in the presentations. We try to reach different kind of conclusions, different objectives, but mainly since we are a College of Education and we are educators at the bottom of everything, we are very much involved with what is improvement. Yes, improvement of practices in general, we can say. Yes, so there can be something also that we will see in a video. There will be, there can be also some kind of improvement in policies, in curriculum design, but in general, there is a way, an understanding of improvement of something. Therefore, what we do, teachers do mainly, is applied research, mainly, yes? We try to apply research to understanding practice and improving that practice, more than theories. But anyway, there can be shades to that, yes? But there are some theoretical studies, but the ones I know from the college are more related to applied research. Now, you're going to work in Padlet. And one of my students in elementary school have seen the Padlet before, have worked with Padlet. And I hope you have also, but it's easy to see. And according to Padlet, you will have a space to work and it will be easier for the rest to see what you're working, your discussion, your writings there. So this is the address for the Padlet. I am going to send it. And I want to share with you how the Padlet looks like. And you're going to work in groups by means of Padlet. Okay, so this is my educational research Padlet. Can you see? Can you all see? Okay, so each group will have a column to work. You have the link to the video and questions. Plus, you have a document to read. I am going to send to your emails, but I can send it through here as well, only I didn't find the link to do it, but anyway, just learning to use Padlet. But anyway, you will receive two more documents via email, and you will be able to read and discuss information here. So information comes from two universities. This is the University of Huddleston in the north of England. And therefore, you have to be careful on the pronunciation of this person, the professor, Dr. Rushton, Dr. Rushton, Ian Rushton from Huddersfield University. He has a special way of pronouncing words. And today, for example, Lucas was unsure of the pronunciation of the word judgment, and that is the acceptable pronunciation for the word judgment. The U is pronounced A, judge. But for the people in the north of England, they will pronounce this U as U. So they will say judgment, poop. So therefore, I am just asking you to pay attention to his pronunciation, which is a little bit different from the ones you're accustomed to listening to. Dr. Rushton will explain educational research. He's clear, I think, and he has support of his video. He supports his video with some written legends, so it's not so difficult. So he asks about what is educational research? How do we carry out educational research? Why do we carry out educational research? And what do you need to do as an educational researcher? So it's the very basic information you will find there, and you will write on the Padlet, okay? So once you have the information, it's there, the questions are there on Padlet, yes? So you answer the questions. Everything you have to do is just click edit, and you can write. We will come back to check that that understanding, and then it will come the reading, 4 pages of a compilation of documents by Dr. Shaukat Rashid Wani from the University of Kashmir in India. So we are very international today. And this professor works with distance education in India, which is something that is very on the spotlight today. And he also works with research and education. And he gives, he has, it's not a literature review, it's a compilation, yes? Como una compilación de distintos autores. So it is useful. It gives a snapshot of lots of literature written, not in the form of a literature review, so it's easy to read and find out information quickly. But here I am asking you to think which type of research, because in the end he gives a list of research you could do. And also in this region, which would be the research you would conduct? Yes, so think of that while you're reading. Because afterwards, we will come back for a general discussion and a discussion together on the topic of educational research. And remember, we are thinking of preparing a project, yes? And I will need your words in this final reflection time. And this will be the end of the class. So Dr. Rushton will, you might need to listen to Dr. Rushton twice, probably. Listen to it as many times as you need, but try to be quick. Whatever he says it in 3 minutes. So it's quick. And then we will come back. So in 6, 7, 8 minutes, we can come back to discuss the video by Dr. Rushton. Is that okay? I will share the Padlet address. Okay, so do you have any questions? ¿Alguna pregunta? I share the Padlet in the chat. Padlet address. And by writing on the Padlet, we can see everyone will be able to see your conclusions. And that will be also valuable for me as the work done in class, accounting for that task that we are not doing in writing. Okay, so there it is. Okay, So there it is, the Padlet address. So we will make a division of groups. We will have 4 groups, and they will be group 1, Javiera, Lucas, and Valentina Rojas, Javiera Garcia. Okay, group 1, Javiera Garcia, Lucas, Valentina. Group 2, Carolina González, Sofía Arancibia, Jasmine Alarcón. Group 3, Bárbara Mendoza, Liselda Escobar, Sofía Sebane. Group 4, Camila Zambrano, and Genesis Inostroza. Okay, so do you remember? Javiera Garcia, remember, group 1. Lucas Valentina Rojas. Sala 2, group 2. Carolina González, Sofía Arancibia, Jasmine Alarcón. Group 3, Bárbara, Liselda, Sofía Sebane. Group 4, Camila and Genesis. Okay.
It's useful, but
Useful.
have a lot of information, but the word that you send us is more clear.
It's clearer, yes. Yes, the people in the north of England pronounce like judgment, poop. Yeah, it's like another pronunciation. Probably, yes, makes more sense for us. Okay, so who would like, who has the Padlet 1? Lucas, Javiera? Anyone of that group who would like to share your answers?
Teacher, the answer now
you don't have
the written in the Padlet because but the answer las tengo yo anotadas.
So you have the answers, but not in the Padlet. That's what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. But we can take advantage and write on the Padlet now so that we take advantage of the time. But anyway, you have answers. Okay, share the answers. Okay. And I will write.
The one is the collection and analysis of information in the world of the education so as to understand and explain better.
So what is educational research? Okay, so yes, they say educational research is okay, educational research is
the collection and analysis of information in the world of education.
Yes.
So to understand and explain better the world.
So to understand and explain better.
Yes.
And explain better. What do we explain better?
The world.
The work.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So we explain our work done in the world of education by doing research in education. Yes, education research. Okay. Any other group? Group 2? So you can click here. Remember, click the right. Probably here. Sorry, not here, but not the video, not where the video is, but in the second, discuss the main question. So here you can answer the questions for all of you so that you can record the information there. Okay, excellent. Second question, group 2. Okay, so you're up. Okay, so group 2, do you have anything to say about why do we carry educational research? Why? For what reason? We are updating. Okay, we are updating the patterns. We are updating. Okay, any answers? Why do we carry out research? Group 3?
Teacher, the group 2, the answer in the down the
It's down.
list.
Okay. Okay. Here in group 2. The collection and analysis of information on the world of education. Yes, and group 1 can do the same also. You can answer here. In this plus, you can answer. Okay, perfect. Yes, understand and explain it better. Yes, the most important characteristic of educational researcher, it is flexible, organized, and planned. Yes, of course, it's planned but flexible. I like that. And then for researchers, the third question is, what do you need to do as an educational researcher? It is important to explore issues and shape policy to improve practice. Yes, and you have a list of things that you do as a researcher. You collect data, you analyze, you reflect, and so on and so forth. Yes, excellent. Group 3, anyone would like to share?
The first answer that we choose this definition that we find in the word. First is educational research is the study and investigation, the field of education.
Yes,
and
but first of all, sorry, Barbara, did you watch the video first? Did you watch the video?
Yes.
Okay.
But I listen new message of Outlook, and I said that you send us the document, and
yes, but that document we
read
will discuss later. The written document later. So first is the Dr. Rushton, the video. So it's okay. This is okay, but we will discuss later.
Okay, so but
yeah,
I don't know if the definition are okay.
Yes, they are okay. Yes, education and research is a study and investigation in the field of education. Yes, we
So
agree. Yeah.
But like the group 2 is the collection and analysis of information.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. It's a collection, an analysis and investigation in general in education. Yes. And also it's directed to development. Excellent, yes. And we talked about improvement. Remember, nosotros hablamos de mejoras, pero también tenemos que hablar del desarrollo. Y esto viene luego en esta nueva lectura. So whenever we talk about improvement, we also talk about development of science, of behavior in educational situations. And that is important also for us to keep on doing educational research so that education continues to develop as a science and as an area of knowledge. Yes, excellent. No, we're not still there. Okay. From the video, what do you need to do as an educational researcher? So the girls here said you need to, what do you need? Number 3 in the video, what do you need to do as educational researchers? What do you remember of that answer?
Analyze.
Analyze. What do you do after, while you are analyzing? You are?
Explore issues.
Analyze. Reflect.
Yes.
Search the truth.
Search for the truth. Yes, well, more than search for the truth, is search for what is the reality. Remember that it depends on our philosophy of research. If we think the world is already finished and we need to describe it as it is, or if we need to discover something new and it's an interpretation of us as human beings. Yes. Okay, so now that you discovered how to work with the Padlet, you can click here in these symbols here and add a new answer. So now, yes, Barbara, now it comes the moment in which you have to share your reading. So Dr. Wani from India has done this collection of important information about research and different areas, and there you have the opportunity to read. It's a kind of summary, but it's more a compilation than a summary. It's not like an organized discourse. It's another organization of discourse. And you have the most important information there. So it's a real compilation of important definitions, characteristics, importance, and different types of research, which you are going to read about here. Yes. The steps we will revise later. Remember that when we organize our projects. Okay, so we are in the basis of thinking. The objective is to think where, let us revise the questions again. So the video, you did well. Now we go to Dr. Wani. And in Dr. Wani's writing, we are going to focus on definitions. So you have different definitions. So choose the clearest. So each group will have a favorite or 2 or 3 favorite definitions that are clearer, ¿sí? Las más claras para ustedes. Okay, then choose the most important characteristics of educational research, and there you have a list to choose from. Establish the main points related to importance of educational research, why it is important. Dr. Rushton has also said why it is important, and I think classmates have pointed out also for policy making. Remember that whenever we do research, we can either test the theory, improve practice, or in some cases, improve policy. ¿Sí? Es mejorar las políticas educativas. Entonces, no es tan solo la práctica en un lugar específico, sino las políticas educativas. So that is policy. And then you will refer briefly to types of educational research you have at the end, and you have to think which type of research would you conduct in our area. What kind of research do you think we need in our area? Do we need a more kind of pure research, theoretical research? Do we need applied research, more research related to what we do in improvement in our daily practices? There is also the option of action research there, so it's another way of doing research. What do you think you need in the Maule region, in our Linares area here in the Maule region? And finally, we will come back for the final discussion, and here we will annotate our conclusions as a whole class. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? ¿Estamos claros? Finish this presentation. Okay, so Dr. Wani has compiled this important information. So what else do you have to say? Clearest definitions. Which clearest definitions have you found? Camila, for example.
What?
Definitions of educational research.
Oh, I forget that.
Yes, but that's the question for the text.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Refers to a systematic attempt to gain a better understanding of educational process.
Okay. Okay.
With a view in improving its efficiency.
Efficiency. Okay, so those are, okay, I'm sharing. Okay, so clearest definitions will be the one related to efficiency in education and
Empathy.
and empathy. So they are
Empathy or
written.
Improving its efficiency.
Improvement.
Yes.
Yes, improving efficiency. And is there any other definition there that talks about something which calls your attention? Improving efficiency and this is the text, Dr. Wani, okay?
The text said view in improving its efficiency.
Efficiency, yes, but just to summarize.
Attempt to gain a better understanding of educational process.
Okay, a better understanding. So here you have the definitions for all of us to bear in mind, yes? So here are the definitions. So another definition is, okay, Barbara, thank you. So one is improving efficiency. We talked about that. And the other one is, Barbara? Sorry.
Is I don't know. Just to clear. And one moment, Miss. I am a little loose.
Lost? No, but remember that we are talking here the last minutes. You were discussing this text by Dr. Wani. Okay. And here you have the definitions. The first.
We write in the Padlet our definition, and we choose the first is
education.
we choose the definition of good. One I heard that yes, educational research is the study and investigation in the field of education, and the second we choose to W I don't know
Yes.
Educational research is that activity which is directed towards the development of science of behavior and educational situation.
Yes, excellent. And that is something I want to keep in the PowerPoint because we're talking about development of science. So these are important notions to remember. So we do educational research because we want to improve efficiency and develop science of education, yes? Developing the science of education. Because in that sense, we become more scientific. Our work becomes based, scientific in the sense that it is based on evidence, okay? So that is important for our profession. Okay, now we are communicating. Yes, then choose the most important characteristics. So there, Dr. Wani explains a list of characteristics. So anyone want to share?
Can be that the educational research is we can they are 13
yes,
different.
Yes, that's why I told you, pay attention to the text, yes. So which can be characteristics? Or whatever you think is important. So please, for all of you, revise the text. You were supposed to be reading the text.
The first characteristic is something so important to me because it said directed toward the solution of a problem in the field of education.
Yes, so we are direct. Yes, we're looking for solutions to problems. Okay, it's a way of thinking. Remember, we are looking for problems. It's a way of thinking. Directed to solution of problems. Yes, so that is important. Remember, if we're looking for improving the practicum, whenever we discover a problem, yes. So we will not be doing so much pure or theoretical research, but more related to applied research. So please, wait a minute. Wait a minute, we will stop here. Okay, so yes, so we have many other characteristics. One characteristic is we can focus on problems, observations that we have in our fields of work. Remember that you will be working in institutions with other people, with students, parents. So probably you will find out that there is a lot of observation to do of what is going on in reality. So
Also me.
that is one important point. Yes, another one.
Sorry, but also something so important for education is that the research help for find the principles of the theories in education, and is so useful for our like a future teacher.
Yes, whenever we dedicate more to pure research, remember trying to focus on theories, on proving theories. So we have always both sides, whether we concentrate on proving theories or whether we concentrate on practical applied research. So again, but being teachers, we will be much more in relationship to everyday life problems, these events that we observe in every day in our classrooms that we need to solve at a certain point. It will be a kind of efficiency looking forward and solution, problem solution situations in general, but it's not only related to that. Of course, they are main aspects, but not the only ones. Importance, we have discussed that it is important because we can develop practice, develop policy. We have said that. And the types of educational research we have been repeating a lot. Which types of educational research? There, Dr. Wani mentions the most important ones. Can you find out?
The third question or
no,
the
fourth, the types of educational research. And finally, which would you conduct in your area? So there I need your participation.
The fourth
Teacher.
Yes. Javiera?
The first question is the basic or fundamental research?
No, the ones related to the types of educational research after the importance. So they are afterwards. They come afterwards. So there you have different types of educational research. And you need to read them in order to decide which would you conduct in your area. So you have reference to pure research, ones we saw in Kumar, remember? Pure research or applied research. And there is another one.
Action research.
Action research, yes. And that is one that we haven't discussed before. It has specific characteristics because it is related to research that we conduct on sites. They have immediate importance to us because it's generally carried out with our communities. It can be carried out in communities, in groups, in classrooms. And they have a specific importance because they can give us answers to immediate problems, questions that we have in our everyday life practice. That's why action research is important in education. And it has been done in education for a long time, since the 1970s, around that. So for 50 years, trying to bring solutions, as we said, solution to problems in everyday practice. So now that we have this snapshot, un pantallazo of different, the importance of educational research, different definitions, characteristics, and types of research. What type of research would you conduct in Linares, for example, in schools in Linares, in our region, if you have to think of that? Any answers, any ideas? Any answers? Come on.
Research of action
research. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Action research could be an answer. Mm-hmm.
Because of first,
Mm-hmm.
immediately
Mm-hmm.
resolution of problems. So, and in part, the solution for the problems is is beneficioso.
Beneficial. It's beneficial. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It is beneficial to
education, to the system education, in specific in schools where they have a low level, educational level, and is so necessary make something, and the action research will give the tools for make something.
Yes, so they can make, it can give you immediate answers. Yes, whenever you analyze your own data in your own classrooms, you can have some solutions or some ideas for solutions. So that is why it is very much applied to education. Okay, so just for final discussion. Come on, people present, come on. So what are your conclusions? What is your conclusion or conclusions? It can also be plural. Okay, some other people here present. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other person? Javiera, Lucas, Sofia. What do you think we can conclude of this topic and why it is important? So just bullet points, most important ideas. Even if it is not a sentence, it's okay. And why do you think it is important?
Teacher, I now see the PPT.
Okay. All right, sorry. So I will share now. Okay, yes, here. Yes, our last, okay, so important. Why it is important? Educational research is important because?
Because they help understand and explain the word education.
Yes, understand. Yes, it helps us understand the world of education. Yes, the world, very, very, yes, and the work we do in education. Yes, it's very much related to something practical most of the times. And if it is something theoretical, it's also related to this at some point and the work we do in education. Perfect, Javier. Any other? So this is a good point of view. And we can have others We can think of improvement, solution of problems. So why it is important in our profession? Anyone else? Sophia, why is it important to conduct research in education? Oh, this lighting.
Or improve or work in the classroom.
Yes, to improve our work, to improve our communities. Yes, our work is one of the possibilities, improvement, our work in classrooms. And that's the most important immediate need that students, that teachers have. Yes, and as future teachers, you immediately think of that need that you're going to have to improve your work. Yes, and which area do you think would you conduct research on? For example, the area of practice, the area of theory, and the area of policy making. Which area would be more?
Policy making.
Okay. Why do you think policy making is important?
Because it's the system, and if we see problems in the system, we can make something for improve the system and fix something something aspect of the system
yes.
Yes.
Can influence the whole, so the system, the policy, because you influence a greater area, ¿sí? Viene, o sea, la mejora en las áreas de política influencia en una gran área.
Yes.
De la educación.
We need teach. We need teach to next, no, al lado. I don't know,
next
so
to,
close
to
the bases curriculares and everything. Yes. So the document, we can help to the person that write, not write, but are
produce in a way, develop,
produce, yes, yes, for maybe help for make a better work for that permit that we make a better yes, a quality work. And also, and why is important in our profession? Because the investigation make to us professional persons.
Yes, exactly. So the laws, now we know that the laws of education try to, the laws in education, laws in education every day. And the new laws try to develop that idea of professionalization in your profession. So it is important to have good policymakers and a good process of policy making, because you need these documents your whole lives and every day almost to work in institutions. So this is very important. Need laws in education in everyday life, in everyday life work. Yes, everyday life work. And you know that when you work, for example, with bases curriculares y demás. If that policy is not well done, then it is not useful for teachers in their work. So excellent, excellent. So I think we have revised a lot this class. Again, the important documents in Wallivan's book, and also discussed on what did we learn? We learned about, anyone would like to say one sentence? We are finishing. We learned about
educational research.
Yes, educational research and its importance. Yes. Yes. Reminders. So please remember that the summaries should be uploaded to this tasks created on Educandos. So they are already there. Task 5, the task in week 5 for elementary school students, and the tasks in week 6 for early childhood education. And plus, I'm going to create this forum for sharing all of the materials. But most important of all is trying to connect, to stay connected. Remember, we need to do some discussions, and I need all of the class participating. So this is an important reminder for everyone in the class. Okay, so I will keep it there on Educandos, so it's a reminder for all of us. And finally, questions. Do you have any questions or answers? If not, we have finished. Please share. Yes, share. So I will create a forum for you to share presentations.
And the summarize.
And the summaries, yes.
Summarize.
PPT, presentation, PowerPoint, presentations, and summaries to the forum on week 7, yes? To week 7, okay. So I hope everything has been clear, and if you don't have any questions, yes, we have finished for today. Thank you for your participation, and I will see you next week. Please, you don't have any new task, but this was the only day. Next week, we will discuss our next task, and therefore, it is important that you have finished your past tasks. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, Miss.
Question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other